Welcome back to Morning Live. Now, around 400 Kenyans die every week from health complications arising from cooking with unclean fuels such as charcoal, firewood, and kerosene. Now, this is according to the World Health Organization. To tackle this problem, there is a need to raise mass awareness and drive social participation while promoting clean alternatives. Now, Chama cha Usalama Jikoni, or of course, if you like, Chuja, is a powerful new movement formed by a cross-section of Kenyan society, including ordinary citizens, celebrities, and influencers, with the aim of rallying Kenyans around the problem of dangerous cooking methods. It's highlighting the dangers of cooking with charcoal, firewood, kerosene, and illegally refilled gas canisters, while driving a movement to stop using these methods in favor of course, cleaner and safer alternatives. Of course, in studio, I'm joined by Dan Nyashar from Chuja, not your shoes actually, the Chama cha Usalama Jikoni. Now, he'll be talking about this because now I still fail to understand. You know, some of us have actually grown using firewood, charcoal, and most households in this country, from middle class to, of course, lower class, they use gas, kerosene, and it's really surprising that it's a health hazard and people are dying out of this. Dan, good morning.
Good morning.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
Surprisingly, people are using gas, charcoal, kerosene all the days of their lives.
Yeah.
But it's kind of surprising actually when you hear it's a health hazard. What is happening now?
Basically, this is why Chuja, the powerful movement that seeks to unite Kenyans around the dangers of cooking. Because initially people thought that even things like gas is clean, but there was dangers of fire because of illegally
actually we knew all
gases.
about fire only.
Yeah,
sure.
Because these fires in the slums are usually from these illegal refilled gases, cylinders, canisters. So that's why Chuja, we are all about talking about these fires, the issues of health from carbon monoxide and kerosene. So this is what people don't know. So this is what Chuja is all about. And we've started in form of a social party. And it stands for Chama cha Usalama Jikoni Amua. Chuja.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So as much as you're trying to campaign against the carbon monoxide from charcoal, gas emission from even your house, the kitchen itself, as a social movement, have you thought of solutions? Because now kerosene, gas, charcoal, have you thought of solutions to this? Like guys need to embrace them in their houses.
Yeah, there are solutions. Like for instance, there are safe refill gases from trusted brands like Shell. There's also the bioethanol that's right now being circulated in Nairobi by Coco. So those are safety alternatives that people can use. So yeah, sikwenda mtaani and then you just go and refill those gases hata ujui if they're safe for you.
But what really convinces you, like, what's the confidence angle that gives you that the entities you've mentioned, that they're the right type to be used? Because now, have you done your research or something like just to test these are the right things to be used? Because now, even if you mention them, right now, people watching them are using different types of gases, charcoal, kerosene, and they're wondering, what is that telling us? Like, have you confirmed that the one you've mentioned is actually very safe? And maybe you can tell us more about that. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, because the one I've mentioned, it's safe. Because if you check the statistics right now, like 400 people die weekly just because of indoor air pollution that's caused by charcoal and firewood, for instance. And so to stop these stats, that's why we usually advocate for cleaner fuels like bioethanol, and we're also talking about LPG gases that have been safely filled by trusted brands like Shell. And also, if you check, like it's estimated that 8 to 10% of women and children are the ones that are mostly affected by indoor air pollution. So this is why Chuja, it's all advocating about this, and even we're telling Kenyans to go and sign, because once we sign this petition, we're going to tell our leaders, we're going to have power to tell our leaders to go and check on regulations governing safe cooking fuel to save Kenya.
Now, our grandfathers, our grandmothers, some of them are above 100 years right now, and they never used gas. In their lives, they used firewood. and they've been living in that scenario for quite some time, and they look healthy. But now you're coming here to tell us about firewood. Dad, like, I'm just trying to think, why is firewood dangerous all of a sudden? Some of us were like, we grew up with this firewood. I believe we're still healthy, but the thing is, why all of a sudden the statistics are coming out that firewood, the smoke, and we used to actually police this thing closer to that fire, and it never harmed us. I know maybe the long-term effects, but still, our grandfathers and mothers, they're still alive, very live and kicking, strong, they're looking healthy, they've been surviving via firewood.
You see here, like, mostly, like, these issues of unsafe cooking are usually go unreported. And it's majorly, if I say 400 deaths, imagine these things need to be highlighted like daily, like it needs to be the big story here. Because if you check, if I may compare it, it's like 3 airplane crashes in a week. That's the number of Kenyans, 400 Kenyans dying weekly.
Okay.
So that's why we need to advocate for it, because people are dying, but sometimes it's a long-term effect. You know, sometimes you may see yourself healthy until you go visit a doctor for a checkup. That's when you realize that your body maybe, it's just by the grace of God, maybe you're surviving.
Anyway, that's scary. That's scary. So tell us about your agenda, because now, as much as you want to sign, how many signatures maybe are you looking for?
We're even looking even 40 million signatures. We want all Kenyans to sign.
What's your target?
We want all Kenyans to sign this thing, because it's all about Kenyans. It's about our families. It's about our environment. Because if you look, even in matters environment, like there's a lot of deforestation in the environment, for instance. Because if you look in a school, like schools that uses firewood to cook, those schools, like they spoil like 56 hectares of land in a year, cutting down trees. That's why you realize that climate change and the issues of seasons have changed, and this is having effects on the yields of crops, and also on just air pollution. So we just want to tell Kenyans that we need to sign this petition. Okay. Yeah.
Looking at the economic impact, because so many people are of course, they take food onto their families on the table, they put food on the table, courtesy of these works, and they're employed by these refineries, they're employed by these gas farms, and so many people actually depending on them. And what's your agenda when you face the legislators? Because now, it will. Do you think maybe you'll get some serious block in terms of just you trying to execute this idea? Because at the end of the day, people are used to using gas in their homes. People are used to making sure that their livelihoods just proceed with the available energy they have. They don't actually look at the bigger picture. Now, also, that's the first question, the legislation. 2, the aspect of now the medical situation. What's your recommendation? Because now, do we have to go for checkups? What type of checkups? Maybe, we need to know these things so that at least, as much as you're having this conversation, we also not try to be some sort of ignorant in this now.
On matters of legislation, like once we sign this petition, you know, we are the people with the power. Once we sign, we have the power. And if we have the power, we have the power to face our leaders, and they have no alternative than to listen to us, because 45 million voices is a voice that you can't ignore. So basically, they'll have just to amua and join us to chuja these dirty fuels in our kitchens. And also, on matters of health, like people need to go for checkups, and there are safe alternatives and even cheap alternatives. For instance, like energy has to be clean, energy has to be affordable, energy has to be accessible. So this is what even I've talked about. The safe LPG gases from trusted brands like Shell. And also I have talked about cocoa, the bioethanol that they are selling. It's very affordable. And it's accessible right now in Nairobi, and it will be accessible in other towns very soon. So this is what I'm advocating for.
Someone watching right now, and he or she uses gas in their homes. They've been using it for the longest time, and they've never had any health complication. And they're just wondering now, should I go for a medical checkup? Is that scaring me off? Even me right here where I'm seated, I'm wondering now, this conversation, as much as they're trying to, in Kenya, you have to accept first, we're in Kenya whereby our economy right now is still growing, or this is a developing country. The financial muscle for our common mwananchi to afford these energies you're advocating for, what do you think, maybe how long will it take for people now to embrace this transition? Because now, as far as you guys as Chuji are trying to push for this agenda, the economic perspective, do you think it's even can you execute this? It looks like something that it can really take a long time before Kenyans actually embrace it. What's your intention?
What we're saying, we're not telling people to stop using gases.
Okay.
But what we're telling them is that they need to get safer gases provided with trusted brands like Shell. You see, like where I stay, like they're usually vendors who are having their gas cylinders everywhere.
Sure.
Don't know even if their gases are tested or even like they're legal.
Okay.
Because you even don't know where they get these gases from. So what we're telling them to get them from trusted brands that are safer. And also this will help to stop even things like fires, because it's dangerous. Like you see in every slum, I stayed in a slum in Dandora, and every time there were just explosions everywhere. So I've lived and I know that these things are dangerous. So we need to advocate for safer safer points of getting these gas cylinders like Shell.
Okay. Now, as Chuja, how have you managed to now come together? Because when did you start? Tell us more about the organization, because as a social movement, there must be an agenda. And maybe who supports you? Because you can't just wake up one morning and start doing something without that financial backup, without that support. So tell us more about that.
Chuja, we started recently, and we are glad that many Kenyans have already signed the petition, and we're also calling upon many Kenyans to sign the petition. And we are backed by many partners. I'll just say many partners, because if I start mentioning them, I might miss on others. But I'll just say we are backed by many partners who are on board to support this cause. Even you can join, and Kenyans can join and be our partners. And so that we may have a voice, because 400 deaths is something that we cannot just brush it off like that.
It's very high, yes, but now strategy. As much as we're talking about trying to convince households to change the way they use this, what's the strategy? Because now you are right now on a national television, but now the strategy of a local mwananchi convincing this family to stop using firewood, how will you do it now? Because now you must be offering solutions. Solution for you is to go to get like this legit gas somewhere, but you need money. For me to kind of kill this firewood vibe, I need to get alternative. Now, have you maybe thought of alternatives just to give Kenyans, leave alone that gas? You've mentioned that gas quite some time, but now the long-term alternatives that, of course, you need to inculcate into Kenyans' minds so that they embrace this.
I've also talked about bioethanol that's been provided by cocoa. Bioethanol is safe and it's clean. So, and it's cheap and affordable. Because things like kerosene, they're expensive. People don't know that. Things like firewood, it's very costly for us. Because imagine, right now there are no rains. If there are no rains, it means there will be no food at the table. So which is more serious? Is it the gas is expensive or losing the food in the table? Because there are very adverse effects that people don't see in long term. That's why we are trying to sensitize Kenyans on the issue of safe cooking. So,
alternatives. When you talk about alternatives, my shosho or my grandfather down there in the village, you're trying to stop him or stop the families to use firewood. Now, will you go down there and convince them, wachane in a firewood, concentrate on this? So you tell them about affordable, biohazard, all this cocoa. It's just kind of, they look at it and say, my brother, what is wrong with you?
But the shock on you is that I was recently in the rural areas this Easter, and I was shocked. Like the LPG gases, the guys who are already like in the vibe, because already like organizations are reaching the grassroots right there, because they're being made aware. So that's even why we are coming in. So once everyone comes on board, it will be easy to sell this message to Kenyans, because already Kenyans are seeing the adverse effects. Because in my rural areas right now, the issues of rain, the seasons have changed.
Yeah.
They are planting, there's no rain, they plant again. You see, it's
Where is
costly
that?
for them.
I think it's raining. Where do you come from, bro?
I come from around Kisii County, the home of the country in between there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not raining as much as it's used to.
Okay.
So even our grandparents are really concerned about that.
All right.
Because they're even telling us, guys, don't cut trees. Because even them there, I wish I would have taken a photo when I'm there. Once I go there, I'll show you where my grandpa is using his LPG gas.
Wow.
So like even I'm trying to, I was educating him on bioethanol that is also cost effective.
Wow.
So I want him to tell his peers about this.
Okay.
Yeah.
So nyinyi mnatumia gas huko Hocha?
Ocha.
Okay.
Tumechuja.
Interesting. I still don't believe this. But when you talk about trees being cut and schools using firewood, also the aspect of pollution, the aspect of environmental degradation, what do you think is the future? Because now when you're told cut one tree, plant how many?
Like three.
Yeah, like three. Yeah. Like it's really not even adding up. Life is so hard for someone or a Kenyan to actually think of going to plant 3 trees. There's no time. People are hustling out here. So as much as we're talking about degradation, safer gas to use, pollution, firewood, what do you think will now sort out this mess?
We are called to be stewards, good stewards of our environment by God. So God blessed us here to take care of the environment. If we don't take care of the environment, then the environment will be bitter on us, and it will punish us in a way that even I don't know the way it will punish us. Because already, right now, the way I'm seeing, like there's no rains, and guys are really suffering because there's no food.
Yeah.
Like places like Turkana.
Yeah.
So you see, we need just to come up with solutions. So that's why we're telling people clean cooking foods.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Now, we're taking a short break right here on Morning Live, but when we come back, Mr. Dan will still continue this conversation. There's still tougher questions for him, because where I'm seated, I still don't believe that I still have to leave my gas or my jiko to go to other forms of energy. Yes, kind of scary that 400 deaths actually are being experienced every what?
Every week.
Every week, 400 people die because of these gases. It's something kind of very crazy. So long-term effects also, and I think like it's a bit kind of overboard for me to now leave my charcoal and gas to go try look for something else. And I still have to insist that our grandfathers and mothers have lived for so long using firewood. I'm not trying to maybe kind of be against his idea or Chuja's idea, but let's focus on this. 400 per week is not very safe. We're taking a short break. We'll be back after a few. Right, welcome back to Morning Live, and Chama cha Usalama Jikoni, of course, if you like, you can call them Chuja, is being represented by Mr. Dan Anyacharo, who is in studio, and he's telling us about alternatives. Of course, it's just a kind of a crazy conversation here, because now gas, charcoal, firewood, very not actually very healthy to you, and 400 people per week actually die out of this, and I'm just trying to insist on alternatives. And Dan, this second part of our conversation will mostly focus on alternatives. Of course, you've mentioned guys should get these gases from petrol stations and not just any other vendor out here, but the economic sense, you've also touched on it. Now back to petition. How far are you right now?
Right now, we recently just started signing the petitions, and we are really impressed by the way Kenyans have come out.
Okay.
And for now, we are 1,000+ signatures, and we are looking even to 1 million signatures. Even today, if we get those 1 million signatures, we're just going to present our petition. And then wait. And we are also thankful for the president, because he recently signed the energy bill into act. So that means that Kenya is in the right track. Our leaders are also looking into the future of this nation.
Now, a minimum number for you to present it to the parliament?
We need 1 million signatures, so for them to see that really like we Kenyans are really on this.
Now, as much as you're fighting about the kitchen, what is actually being used in the kitchen, look at the environment itself, emissions. Of course, Kenya is one of the countries in Africa, actually top 5 countries in Africa, very polluted as far as emissions are concerned. Do you think when you talk about carbon monoxide, you cannot not only find carbon monoxide in the house? There's so many things out there. Maybe where you work, where of course your road, our roads, it's really polluted, and you're pushing this from the kitchen's agenda, but not forgetting these people outside. They're kind of exposed to all these emissions and everything. So is there any correlation between this? Because now you're fighting from the kitchen. This person will live a healthy life in the house, but when he goes or she goes out, there's still some catastrophic impact. Yeah.
As you've noticed, like I said before, I also touched on environment.
Yeah.
Because also issue of health is an environment as also in the house. Because that's why I'm talking about, like, guys need to stop deforestation. Because these trees help just to make the cycle of the air to be clean. So that's why I'm talking about, guys, firewood, no firewood, because you guys don't need to cut down trees. Because that was the way nature, like God made it, just to make the air not to be polluted. So that's why we're talking about, guys, safe, clean cooking fuels. Because when you cut firewood, like, you're really messing the environment yourself.
Okay. Have you approached any county government so far, any leader to help you guys push your agenda, or maybe you're just trying it by yourselves?
Right now, we're just moving like local Kenyans.
Okay.
But we just want to get the voices so that we may face our leaders. No, once you face our leaders with the people, they will have the power and they will listen to the voices, because a million voices can't be ignored.
You know my demeanor right in studio. I'm still not in kind of agreement with you, but still, how can you be able to convince this old person, this someone who's lived all their lives using firewood, using charcoal, using gas? How will you be able to just now? In short, like, you just give me an assignment. Convince me to stop using it. I've been using firewood. Now, convince Nick.
I'll tell you. Right now, even it's hard for you. If you're caught with the charcoal, you're arrested. It's even hard to get it. So even the government's putting regulations that basically are just sieving this thing out for us.
Okay.
So and also on firewood, you can't cut down trees easily nowadays.
Okay.
You can't, you're arrested.
Okay.
You have to have permit for you to cut down trees, because even the government is seeing that we are going on a way that's not good. So they're looking at the future of Kenya and the best interest of Kenyans. So the best interest of Kenya is safe cooking fuels, because that's why they're doing that. Because I'll tell you, go get charcoal. It's expensive right now because it's not there in the market. And for your sustainability, you need something that's affordable. That's why by default I was just telling guys, clean, safe, clean cooking fuels.
Wow. Affordability. We'll talk about the cocoa renewable, the gas itself. Affordability. How much would I cough from my pocket to now at least afford this? Because now you also know the dynamics of even renting homes in this town, in Nairobi and other places around the city, maybe, or even other towns in this country. It's also expensive. Now, there's some people who can't allow you to use even firewood in their houses. Not even firewood. That's an extreme end. Charcoal. They just want gas in their homes. So affordability also. How will you advise me to now kind of budget for this? Because you need to be very prepared to convince me to leave that charcoal and to go for this other alternative.
Because charcoal is expensive. Because in a day...
As you're giving me also, as much as saying it's expensive generically, give me this solution also. How much is the other one, so that at least I can budget also? You're trying to convince me.
Because if you spend like they sell it in that carton. So in some areas it's like 60 bob. Some areas like 70, and you need that per day.
Okay.
So if you calculate it in a month, how much is that?
Yeah,
like 30 bob. It's a lot of money. So LPG gas is ranging right from like a K there. Sometimes it's a K, sometimes it's 900. So by ethanol, it's like way much cheaper, because it's something like 800 there.
Okay.
Yeah. So
800 was the portion, because now that's what we're looking for. Quantity. Quality, you've actually mentioned it. The quantity.
It runs like the LPG gas, because it's the same like longevity of it. So that's it's affordable. It's available right now in Nairobi, but it's also coming to other major towns because that's what we're trying to push.
Now, for the health impact situation, you're going to face a doctor. Of course, some people go for these overall checkups, but when you talk about 400 people dying weekly, courtesy of these gases, it's not a good figure.
Yeah.
Now, when you go to your doctor, you want this to be examined and you want to be taken care of in that matter. What's always the first thing actually that you can tell as far as now you're affected by these gases? Are you aware of the first thing, maybe the first symptom you can have? You're not a doctor, but as someone who's in the Chuja fraternity, you are aware of actually what happens here.
Yeah, because for the thing I can say about myself, like my eyes, right now, because if you check my eyes, I really struggle a lot.
Because of using smoke?
Yeah, because of the smoke effects, my lungs. So,
wow, okay.
so I can say that it's having an adverse effect on me right now. Because growing up using kerosene or charcoal, so I've inhaled a lot.
Okay.
Into air pollution. Yeah, it's having adverse effects on me. That's why I'm trying to tell people that this thing is dangerous and it's not good.
Okay. So I was winding up this conversation. What's your final sentiment to Kenyans? Because now we've talked about affordability, accessibility, financial impact also, and the 400 deaths per week is the foundation of a discussion now. What can you tell Kenyans about this?
I'm just telling Kenyans, like, right now, we just need to focus on cleaner and safer energy. Okay. Like 400 deaths is something that we can't just leave that to just go like that. We need to speak about it. We need to join our voices. They can join us on Facebook, Chuja Party Kenya. Okay. On social media, Instagram and Twitter, it's Chuja_Party KE. And also www.chuja.party. Okay. They just go there and join us to sign the petition so that we can have a voice. And we demand that our leaders put regulations that govern safe fuels in Kenya. Also, they can check on YouTube, and we're glad that Major has joined us in this. And he's recently, last week, he's released a song.
Or the musician?
Major musician.
You didn't need to be specific.
The council guy.
Yeah, okay.
So he released a song that not only seeks to entertain, but also to educate people on the dangers of unclean fuels. All right. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Dan Nyacharo, for coming to studio. You've convinced me, partly. You've convinced me partly. But I'll try to look into my options, because now 400 deaths per week is not actually something very funny. We need to get alternatives. Thank you so much. We're going to take a short break right in Morning Live. When we come back, we discuss more matters actually as far as your business growth is concerned. Stay tuned to Morning Live.